My name is Vivian. I'm 23 years old. I got my first child when I was 17. I was in Form 2, a teenager fresh into high school. And that experience has taught me a lot. It has taught me to inspire other teenagers of how to handle the same situation, because a child can never be a mistake. What took you to making one is not a mistake. A child never comes to this world by mistake. It just happened. Like I was into this person, and I wouldn't want to go into the tiny details of what transpired before me getting pregnancy. But the experience was harrowing because my parents were not ready to be grandparents. My teachers could not stand losing their best student to pregnancy, because obviously I had to leave school for a while to take care of my baby and see her grow up. It's a baby girl, she's now 5 years. My siblings, they were disappointed, me being the firstborn, and of course they were looking up to me. My other relatives, my neighbors, it was a whole disappointment to everyone around me. But again, beating myself about it would not help. So after my baby got to a year old, I got back to school to fix pieces that I had broken. And I'm glad to say I am now a founder of Single Moms Association. We motivate young girls, teenagers who get pregnant, and take them through the journey, because it's not easy, it needs help. You need to be talked to, you need to be encouraged as a single mother, as a teenage mom. You have to realize that parents have the best of thoughts for their children, and that does not include making them grandparents at an early age. So I came from school with a leave-out sheet written, she's pregnant, she's been suspended from school to take care of the pregnancy, to at least deliver first before getting back to school. You cannot go through a system and you're expectant, because you will be slower. There are things you cannot eat, the exercises you can't partake in, you cannot take part in school cleaning, you cannot be taken fast like every other person who's going to class, chasing after routines. So my father at first said I should move out of the house. My mom acts as a soft moderator between my dad and I, because I was the extreme end, the recipient. Then my dad is the sender. He sends the message, the ill will. I was just there receiving it, and eventually he came to agree. That was after I delivered. He came, saw me in hospital. He was not in the best of moods. It was not the father I used to know, the light one, but then, yeah, we have to agree that it had happened. So they took me back in, sadly, and raised my daughter for me, because I had to go back to school. And the first thing is, I don't want to say naturally, but I think I was anorexic. I had this very slim body, perfect frame. So after getting pregnant, I bulged. My fats bulged at the edges. I became chubby. I could not take part in sports I used to take part in. And I also lost friends, because in due time, they're ahead of you. They don't have kids. You cannot go out as often as you used to, because you're a mother now. You have someone you have to take care of. You have someone to tend to. Apart from losing friends, I also lost trust for a while, because my mom would say, unaenda wapi na uko na mtoto? Unataka kuongeza mwingine? Things like that. And also, on the brighter side, it sharpened my focus, in the sense that I'm not alone anymore. So anything I do, it is affecting two people, me and my child. I can say mild depression, but at no point of time did I think of suicide. It has never been a part of my thoughts. I have never contemplated suicide. For one thing, because I was raised in church, so I took it back to God. I used to cry a lot to God. And my mom came in, she stood up for me. She was there when I needed someone to talk to. She didn't ask questions like, what led to that? She would tell me, it will be fine. If I wanted to tell her, Mom, I didn't plan for this, Mom, I'm very sorry, I've disappointed you. She was, this too shall come to pass. You will get a chance to try again. It has already passed. We cannot change the past, but we have everything about the future to correct. I didn't know I was pregnant until it was 4 months into the pregnancy. So about psychology, I would say I was not keen on my peers. So I wouldn't talk much about the psychological bit. Maybe physical, the gaining weight. Then I would beat myself about wanting to cut the weight without knowing I was carrying a child. Immediately I delivered, I called my baby Destiny. So I thought, I don't have much to do, but I have a destiny to fulfill. I have a destiny to protect. So I have a destiny to live for. So every other time I would tell my mom, I don't want to go to school, but I think I am destined to go back to school. I even thought of starting a business maybe, but I'm not good with money. I don't have a Midas touch with business, so I didn't pursue that line. My mom said I should take care of Destiny until she's a year, ready to be left alone for some time, or she can at least endure 3 months of a semester, 3 months of a term without the mother. That which I did. And exactly after a year, I enrolled back to high school. Being a bright student, I went to Form 3. I didn't get back to Form 2. Cleared high school, got a good grade, enrolled to the university, and I'm now on my internship program. Our relationship was severed bitterly. We both were not ready, as I've said before, so we didn't get to be much in touch. He was against me keeping the baby, so I didn't see a point of keeping him in my life if he didn't want me to fix this one thing we had gone wrong. Ideally, I had my expectations of his reaction towards me being pregnant at that early age. And then he didn't even consider that the repercussions I could face if I lost the pregnancy or if I aborted the pregnancy. I decided to cut off the communications for my own good, for the goodwill of my mental health, and to also grow with my baby together, because it was a new journey that needed my full concentration. And this is the person I had put all my trust in, and he didn't want me to carry this child. Now that she's here, I didn't need him, so we don't talk. But I don't have bad blood. If he came back, we would still talk a thing or two. I cannot tell anyone that having sex at an early age is bad. I can also not tell anyone that having sex at an early age is good. What I would say is our sex education is shallow. There is a lot we need to tell our teenagers, and we are not telling them. Don't tell anyone, don't have sex. Tell them why they shouldn't. Give them a reason why you think they shouldn't, so that they weigh the good, the bad, the ugly, and see what they want. If you're told use protection, and you're given a reason why you need to use protection, you will see that maybe I don't need to have sex because I don't want to use protection. But if you're told don't have sex, out of curiosity of a child, you might engage in sexual activities without protection and get pregnant. I joined a couple of friends that I knew of who had given birth at an early age. We came together, 3 of us, talked about our experiences and helped us to go through the challenges. For example, my baby cries a lot. We would talk about that and know how to go through it together. We meet as often, deliberate over issues that are affecting us, and maybe our approach towards life after the pregnancy. I would like to talk to parents out there. It's not the end of the journey. Once your child is pregnant, as a teenage, walk them through the journey. It's not easy. It's not the best decision they made, but at least a correction to it would be your reaction to the same. Everyone deserves a second chance. Your child too deserves a second chance. Maybe your teachings were right. You put them through the right system, and somewhere through the way they faltered. Do not kick your head about it. Do not beat yourself about it. Just guide them. Children need guidance. The society out here is hard. It's tricky. It's tough. just guide them through the right way.
In this week's episode, we've talked about teen pregnancy. We talked to Vivian Nafuna, and she was a parent at the age of 17. She dropped out of school. Her parents just kicked her out of the house. But after some time, parents are just parents. They love their kids. They took her back. I'm your host, Deon Mogire. Stay tuned to the next episode. Bye.